What is good people? You are now listening to another episode of A Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth. And first and foremost, I got to give a big shout out to Celeb Studios in Columbia, South Carolina for accommodating me for recording these episodes. So big shout out to Chef Jay and the crew at Celeb Studio. And speaking of Columbia, we got a special guest. I mean, look, friend of the show. You know him, you love him. Multi-hyphenate. He's a man. He is a man that wears many hats. And like I always say, he's not the mayor of Columbia, South Carolina, but he's the mayor of Columbia, South Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the good brother Preach Jacobs in the building. Preach, what's good, bro?
What up, man? Thank you for having me, man.
Man, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
So, first and foremost, to see the Eagles.
My Eagles. I should have had my Eagles hat on. Yes.
The Eagles won the Super Bowl, man.
Look here,
so
man. I'm about to cry now.
Yeah, take us through the gamut of emotions you were feeling as the Super Bowl was going on.
All right. So you got to understand, I've been through in my lifetime the ups and downs of the Eagles, going to the Super Bowl, getting close to the Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that, you know, Andy Reid is the Chiefs coach, we had Andy Reid for years, and it seemed like we was in the NFC Championship like for 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
That Super Bowl we went to, well, we had McNabb and we had T.O. I thought we were going to get that. We lost to the Patriots. So when we went back again and we're playing the Patriots with the backup quarterback, I had zero faith we were going to win that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. So to win that, it was a big surprise, but it felt like an outlier, et cetera, et cetera. This squad, we went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I think that Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes. We just lost the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, next season we about to be good. And then somehow we collapsed. At the beginning of this season, they were talking about firing the coach.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, while we were winning. So remember, we were, I think we lost 2 games. We were 4-2. And then we just went on a winning spree. And while we were winning, A.J. Brown got frustrated because he wasn't getting the ball enough, even though Saquon Barkley was having like a historic year. I got nervous about Saquon Barkley because he could have played the last game of the season to beat Eric Dickerson's record or have the most yards of any season. It would have been above Eric Dickerson.
Yeah.
It would have been above O.J. Simpson. It would have been above this short list of players that ran over 2,000 yards in the season. Mm-hmm. They sat him. And all I said to myself was, if you sit him and keep him from being able to break this record, and on top of that, you know, not only were you breaking that record, it was just like, you know, he might have won MVP that year. Mm-hmm. And there's incentives with that. So, Josh Allen won MVP. He got an extra $2 million for that, right? So you sit him down. I'm like, if you sit Saquon down so he can't do this, y'all need to make sure that y'all win the Super Bowl. We get there, and I'll be honest with you, I'm still terrified of Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, the best way I can describe it, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, Patrick Mahomes, to me, is how Spike Lee felt about Michael Jordan with his Knicks. But Joe was always a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
Spike was always a Knicks fan, loved his Knicks, but he was friends with Mike. And he wanted his team to win, but Spike would lose to his homie. That's how I was looking at Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the Eagles. I wish any other team, if he was playing against any other team, root for Pat Mahomes. I don't want him to beat my team. Anyways, we're walking into this, and there's like a case for a three-peat with this. And I think a day or two before the Super Bowl, Jalen Carter, our number 1 defensive end, they said he had flu-like symptoms. He might not play, or he might not. And I'm like, they start the excuses early.
Yeah.
So I have a rule. Last time the Eagles played in the Super Bowl, and the one before that, if my team is in the Super Bowl, I can't watch it with anybody. Because I don't want y'all seeing me like this, right? Right? Like, I can't watch it. Like, I can't, you know, my dad's an Eagles fan, but the amount of like N-bombs and F words that was coming out my mouth, like, I can't have my father. So I watched it alone. When it was like one of the first plays in the game, A.J. Brown called a ball, and then they called offensive pass interference. And I was like, here you go. They're about to do all these calls for the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Then next thing you know, it just opens up. We were up 10 points. I didn't trust it because Patrick Mahomes comes back every single Super Bowl that he's won. By halftime, when it was 24-0, I was like, I think we might have this. And I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't say I wish it was a closer game, but like, the Chiefs got beat so bad that it took all the joy out of it for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at that point, I'm like, all right, at this point, let's not let Kansas City score at all. Like, or at least keep it single digits. So the score was like, I think technically 40-22. That was a whole lie. It wasn't as close to that as that looked. But
a lot of stat padding going on.
A lot of stat padding. But I think I'm really excited because Jalen Hurts is being accused of not being a good quarterback all season. And all he was doing was winning.
Yeah.
All he was doing was winning. And I think that somebody said this, and I thought this was really brilliant. Mahomes had this really, really big, I guess, Jedi mind trick on us, where we're looking at the inefficiencies of the Kansas City Chiefs, but we were still betting on the Chiefs. It was like, all right, well, they haven't been scoring well all season. A lot of their wins were just like fluky wins, like they blocked the field goal, they did all this other crazy stuff, all these other wins. But somehow, when the Eagles definitively look better on every side of the ball, you might just say, you might take Patrick Mahomes over Jalen Hurts. You might take Andy Reid over Sirianni. But other than that, the Eagles were better in every position, but people were still like, you know what? I'm not betting against Mahomes.
Yeah.
And so I think this game kind of gave it kind of from now on, I think the way we look at the game, well, number one, the AFC is probably going to try to copy what the Eagles did. And basically, I don't think Patrick Mahomes played terribly. I just don't think he had any time to do anything.
Right.
So I was excited. My Eagles won. I was lit for a couple of days. You know what I mean?
Rightfully so.
And I'm good. So like, yeah. So it's really weird, man. Like I'm not used to my teams winning like this. How did you feel when your Rangers won?
Oh my God, dude, it's different for me because
you've been waiting on that a long time.
I've been a fan since 1993. I literally waited 30 years for this moment to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was going to happen in 2011 when they went to the World Series and had Nelson Cruz caught that ball on the warning track for the final out in Game 6. We would have been world champions, but didn't happen. So, like, you know what? Delayed but not denied. But brother, what's funny is I was actually a guest on a podcast while the Rangers won the World Series. So they got my reaction in real time. Like I had to step away from the mic and because I wasn't really keeping track of the score, but like around the 8th inning, because I think they were up like 1-0, I want to say, over the Diamondbacks. And then my phone started blowing up. I was like, hey, hold on now. What's going on? We might pull this thing off. And then I wasn't even watching. Yeah. The dude on the podcast said, man, congratulations, Danny. Y'all boys did it. And I had to walk away from the mic, like run from one end of the house all the way back and just like express how I was feeling at that time. Boy, you talk about euphoric. Because at that time, prior to the Aces winning the back-to-back titles, like all of the pro teams that I root for literally had no championships to speak of, like none. So this is a brand new experience for me.
I mean, I thought about you the other day, man, because your OKC is looking great too.
Yeah,
and I think that thinking about what's happening in basketball versus other sports, I think baseball is the one that I think people are fans of for a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
And NFL is kind of the same thing. Like I grew up with the Eagles because it was basically like, me and my dad, we were Randall Cunningham fans, right? And it was this dope, slick black quarterback. And then they had fly dudes on, we had Reggie White, we had Jerome Brown from Miami.
Jerome Brown.
Like it was just a fly team. And we were just, all right, but that's our squad.
Yeah.
So, but I wonder what you think about this as far as the NBA is concerned. I don't see lifelong NBA fans for teams like it was when I was growing up. I guess because of the mobility, people are more fans of players now.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, when Luka is a generational talent with Dallas and he becomes a Laker fan, a Laker player, now all of a sudden the kids that were Dallas Mavericks fans are now Lakers fans because they were a fan of Luka.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how does all that translate to you with basketball? Like, do you feel like it's harder to be a fan for a team or do you travel with the players?
I've always stuck with the team. I mean, I became an OKC fan because I grew up a diehard Sonics fan.
Ah, that's what did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because at that time, and I actually I posted a clip of this on my IG, but, during the early 90s, everybody and their mama was a Bulls fan.
Yep.
And the basis of the teams that I root for is I just wanted to pick a team that nobody else was rooting for.
Word, okay.
And we didn't get very many Sonics games, but the 93 playoffs, they start. God, that sounds just like Jim Moore when I said that.
Playoffs.
But the 93 playoffs, they started getting a lot of burn on NBA on NBC. And then it was the Western Conference Finals against Phoenix in 93, and they ended up losing in 7 games. I'm like, this is the team I'm hitching my wagon to, because I knew about Kemp and Payton because of inside stuff. But then seeing all the other other players, like you had Kendall Gill, you had Detlef Shrimp wasn't there yet. It was Derek McKee, Benoit Benjamin, Dana Barros, just all these other pieces. I was like, man, this team got hard, bro. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, this is the team I'm hitching my wagon.
What year Sonic Squad was this you talking about?
93.
Okay, 93.
And then 94, they get the best record in the league, and then they lose to the Nuggets in the first round.
Yeah, that with Mutombo.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, honest with you, I think those Seattle teams were the best teams that the Bulls went against. Because that was a 60-plus win team, wasn't they? When they lost to the Bulls, yeah. So, ever tell you my Mutombo story? So, when I was a kid, I used to get the Beckett magazines, the sports magazines. So, I would get the basketball, baseball, football Beckett. Yeah. And as a kid, just one day, I'm looking, and they had all the addresses to all the teams' facilities. And so, I was just like, I'm just going to mail cards to players. Yeah. The first card I ever got signed, I had a Dikembe Mutombo rookie card because he was with the Nuggets in 1990. Yeah. 1991, I was 6 years old. I mailed a card to Dikembe Mutombo, and that was the first card I ever got signed by a player.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. So when he passed recently, I made a post of the card. I still got it. It's in my place now. So yeah, so that was the first card I ever got signed.
That's dope.
Yeah. And that was, that was my thing. I would just write letters to players and just mail stuff out. And then once in a while you get stuff. Some players, if they weren't going to sign anything, they'll send the team would send a picture back. Some players, I found out later on, I think Charles Barkley stole my card. So, all right. So quickly we can get to the sniffing. All right. So, when Charles was at Phoenix, I sent, and he taught me a lesson because I used to try to send my favorite card of a player somewhere. I had to learn to only send cards that I had doubles of in case nobody sent it back. Okay. So I mailed a letter to Charles Barkley, never heard back. And then I read a Beckett with him interviewing Charles Barkley, and they were just like, do you collect cards or do you collect your own cards? And he was like, sort of. I steal the cards that people mail to me. And I was a little kid and I got angry and I wrote the Phoenix Suns and they sent me like a package of stuff. They sent me like a poster of the team. They sent me tickets, but we ain't going to Phoenix. A bunch of stuff. Right. And you had a bunch of signatures. The one person that didn't sign nothing was Charles Barkley.
Of course. Wow. I never knew that. That's wild. So now we're going to get into sniffing some candles. So the candles I got today were actually from a place in Charleston called Ollie's. Yeah. It's like a factory second, like everything's like super marked down. And I was looking for other stuff, but then I looked on the shelf and saw that they had candles. I'm like, okay. All right, why not? So the first candle we're going to try is actually called, what's the manufacturer? The manufacturer is a Star Candle Company. The name of the scent is Friday. It's a state of mind. Stress, what stress? Best day of the week, see happy hour. The notes are bergamot and grapefruit. So since you're the guest, you can crack this bad boy open. I haven't sniffed it yet, so.
All right, let's try it. The people looking Friday.
Preach is sniffing?
Okay. I don't know what I'm getting notes of. I feel like I'm getting, I want to call it butterscotch. I don't know why I'm smelling something that smells like that, but
hey, bees like that sometimes.
Yeah, but it's I think it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, Friday. So I like Fridays. No, this ain't quite my idea of what Friday smells like, but you know what? I do pick up the butterscotch. That's wild.
Yeah. It might be butterscotch. I don't know exactly what the term I should use for it, but yeah, I'm smelling some notes.
This like the olfactory version of the blue dress or the gold dress.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because just like you said, I don't smell any bergamot or grapefruit, but I definitely smell hints of butterscotch. Yeah, on a scale of 1 to piss my dad off, this one is probably a 1 because I don't think my dad is a big fan of butterscotch. So, yeah. So you know what? This one still gets a passing grade from me.
Yeah, this one will work.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I can put this one in the house or in the art gallery. You know what I mean? Let it simmer a little bit.
Let it marinate. Do what it do.
Yeah.
Now the second thing I want to talk about, I had the honor and privilege and pleasure of being an attendant of the Harvest and Heritage series that the South Carolina State Museum does every month. And this was the first one of 2025, and they actually did it at the Penn Center down in St. Helena Island.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, just talk to us about what that experience was like for you.
I'll be honest with you, it was really dope. I just went to the African American Museum in Charleston, and they had a section of places in South Carolina that had historical note, and there was a picture of MLK at the Penn Center, like literally where we were on the stage, you know. So it was really, really dope moment. I think that the thing that meant a lot to me, I think this series is great because primarily when we do the series, it's at the State Museum, South Carolina State Museum in Columbia. Fantastic event. For people that don't know, it's kind of combining, the culinary arts of Black chefs, and it's from different regions of South Carolina. And they'll have different themes. So you'll have a panel discussion talking about the food, and then you have Chef Amethyst, who's incredible chef out of Charleston. North Charleston. You got to be specific.
Shout out Amethyst.
North Charleston with a black folk at. Other places in Charleston, because I was just there, you ain't going to see us. But you have a talk back. You have the people talking about their craft, what they do, talking about food, and talking about community. And then there is a meal afterwards, and then I provide music. The State Museum is always great, but doing it at the Penn Center this time, it felt like if we were congregating in the 60s as Black folk to have a discussion about how to move forward with the movement, right? And so one of the things that gave me kind of perspective, being a business owner with an art gallery, I would get insecure about the art gallery because I felt like selling art in South Carolina or in Columbia, my gallery is called Soul House, 23 Lincoln Street. I know that selling art is a difficult proposition because a lot of people don't have money to buy stuff to put on their walls, that type of thing. And so I always knew or felt in my heart that community outreach is going to be the best way for the space to operate. Right. It was going to be, book signings. It was going to be community-based gatherings if we're working with nonprofits. It was going to be poetry readings. It was going to be whatever. Art is always going to be a component of it. But being the Penn Center kind of gave me that vibe because it's like, oh, this isn't just a place of, Black folks just meeting up. This is a place to talk about, hey, what's going on with the churches? What's going on with the community? What's going on with, if there are people in the community that needed rice and we didn't have the money for it, how are we going to raise, so seeing that kind of in real time of it not just being an event that's just entertaining with food and talk, you actually got to feel the community of it. I thought that was really, really fantastic. Yeah. And before the event started, I traveled around St. Helena Island a bit, got a cigar, walked around on the beach, hung out a bit. So it was a really, really fantastic experience. I think the next one's going to be in the PD area. Okay. Yeah. So I'll be doing that one too. Oh, man. Likewise, I had a similar takeaway from that experience. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing that really cracked me up. It was during the panel. I can't remember who it was that was speaking. And they were talking about eating salmon and rice. And I immediately thought of your pops. Talking about Simon and rice. Simon and rice. Listen. Listen. I wrote an article last year. I do this every February. So I write for Charleston Post and Courier / Free Times. And I think it's funny that every February I'm starting this thing. I call it the Black Audit. And so it's certain stuff like, all right, how are we doing as a people? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And one of the jokes that I made the last time was basically, all right, certain stuff that I'm not going to do anymore in 2024 when I wrote this. I'm not judging Black people on how they say the word salmon, right? Yeah. So I was like, there was a time where I'm with my mom years ago, and she kept calling it salmon. I'm like, Mama, it's salmon. Yeah. And she said, no, it's not. And so I pull out dictionary.com and I play it, and it's like, salmon. And so she's like, oh, she pronounced it correctly for like 2 weeks and it went back to calling it salmon.
Yeah.
Right. And then maybe a few months ago, I'm hanging out with my mom and I bring her back to my parents' house. And my mom says to my dad, she's like, you had anything to eat? My dad said, yeah, I fixed some Simon and rice. And my mom's trying to correct him. She said, you mean salmon? You mean salmon? I'm like, both of y'all got it wrong. Right? You know, so I just made a rule. I ain't correcting black folks no more on how they say it. You know, both of my parents picked cotton. And at some point in time, they went to segregated schools. Y'all can say the word salmon any way you want to. So, you know, for the folks out there, if you say Salmon, Simon, which I have no idea where Simon came from, but that's how you say it, go for it.
I love it. And speaking of food, what was the dish that stood out to you the most at Harvesting Heritage?
The thing is, the funny thing is, the DJs usually when I get the food, it's all gone. But this time it was a shrimp-based dish. What do you know what it was?
The okra gumbo?
Yes.
Yeah.
That stood out. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I got into a fight with my family about this. When they pull out that pound cake, that pound cake is, listen, they have different flavors of the pound cake. The regular behind pound cake is the best pound cake I've ever had in my life. And so they bring it out to the Harvest Heritage events, and it's absolutely incredible. Side note, do you know why they call it pound cake? I didn't know this.
I don't know.
Because
enlighten me.
Because you use a pound of butter to make it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
To the point.
Great, right? Yeah. Pound of butter. I guess that's why it tastes so good. But yes, that's why they call it pound cake. Yeah.
Man, you know, I wish they had a butter scented candle.
All right. In your travels of candle sniffing, what has been the most weird candle you've encountered?
The everything bagel scent. I was
really?
Yeah. It was I got it from TJ Maxx. It was on the discount table. It was like $5. I was like, okay, sure. And I sniffed it. I think that was the only candle on this podcast that I just gave a big thumbs down to. I was not a fan.
So here's my question. Who are those for? Is if I have a bagel shop, do I put that in? Do I light it up to encourage people to buy bagels? Like, because I think we joked about this one time. There was a macaroni and cheese candle. So
yeah.
I'm like, who is that for? Like, if I had a barbecue, like rib joint, do I light that up? Like, what are those fragrances for?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I don't know I guess. What would a bagel smell? So it just smells like bread with seasoning on it?
It just smelled like onions. And I'm not an onion fan at all. So that one just, as soon first sniff, I was just.
That's usually a rule, man. If I'm in Marshalls or I'm in TJ Maxx, as soon as I see the candles in the clearance section, I'm like, all right, what happened? I'm like, why are you over here? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah. So what was the last candle you took a chance on that you never got that you really, really loved?
Oh gosh. I'm sniffing so many candles.
I know, right?
It's like they all run together. I really can't answer that question.
Well, I think I want to push forward and do and expand my nasal horizons, because I generally gravitate towards, the same thing. So I'm a big tobacco vanilla guy.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? So,
too.
but I don't know if it's seasonal a lot, so I can't find it when I want to. So I'm trying to figure out new things, and this is I'm using this as research as well, like new things I can try out, just to see how I respond to them, because I want to get out of my pattern, Yeah.
Same thing here. But real quick, going back to the Harvesting Heritage, I'll tell you what, that collard green salad.
I didn't get a chance to get that.
I never in my life had greens prepared like that. It was like very, very, very finely shredded, and they added like chunks of beets and red peas.
So was the collards like cooked, or was it like lettuce in a salad?
They were cold.
Really?
Yeah. I never had collard greens prepared that way and like served cold.
So shredded. So it was shredded.
Yeah.
With a vinaigrette or something on it?
It tasted like it was some kind of oil on it. I can't really put my finger on what exactly they dressed it with. But brother, that joker was so chock full of flavor. I gotta hit up Amethyst about that one.
Yeah, now you got me excited about that. Like, that's fantastic. And plus, when you talk to Amethyst, you gotta remind her, She's working on a cooking book. And we joked about this. She said this, and I'm going to hold her to it. I joke with her all the time. I think we was talking about if she had like something that she could make or cook or whatever that she would put on, I wouldn't say an assembly line, but if she had it in the grocery stores or whatever. Yeah. And she talked about some type of sauce that she would have. And she asked me the same question. And I said, yo, I want something called Preacher's Peaches. You know?
Yeah, right? I remember that. Yeah.
And she said she's going to do her cookbook. She's going to do a peach cobbler. And she's going to call it Preacher's Peaches. So I'm going to hold her to that. So all right. I'm going to hold her to that. Whenever this book come out, Preacher's Peaches.
Amethyst, we're holding you to that. We got to see that in the cookbook. Now, we're going to go to the next candle.
All right.
So this next candle is Magical Frosted Forest from Yankee Candle. So this one has 3 wicks. It has a real winter vibe to it, the presentation. So actually, I'll do you the honors of
Magical Frosted Forest.
Magical Frosted Forest. Preacher sniffing the candle.
Trying to see.
Trying to find out what the notes are.
You know, out of all your senses, the sense of smell brings memories back quicker than all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know why this reminds me of a doctor's office I've been into.
Really?
As a kid. Yeah. It feels like that.
And you know what? This one, just piggybacking on what you said about scent instantly triggering memory.
Mm-hmm.
This one makes me. This one, number one, it really does have a foresty tinge to it. But this one, when I smell it, it immediately takes me back to getting off the school bus, and it's like Thanksgiving just ended, and I'm walking in the house, and Mom's already she got the Christmas stuff out the attic, and she got the Jackson 5 playing. She got the Jackson 5 Christmas record spinning on the turntables, and she's hanging up Christmas ornaments and Christmas decorations and stuff. So I tell you, boy, it's that nostril nostalgia is powerful.
Nostril nostalgia. All right, I'm gonna steal that.
It is man, I tell you, yeah, this one here. Anything when I smell it and it immediately takes me back to a point in time in my life, gets an instant pass for me.
So are you one of these people that you don't want the candle to, I guess, be out of season? You know what I mean? Like if this feels like a Christmas candle, do you feel weird lighting it up in February?
Not at all.
Okay.
Dude, I bought a pumpkin spice candle while I was in the store. I have no shame. Okay. I don't care.
All right. Yeah. Because some people are like that, right? Yeah. Like some people are like, we make eggnog on Thanksgiving. Like, well, like what if you want it in June? I mean, eggs are probably too expensive now, but but like I know some people are seasonal with so many things. I don't know if people are seasonal with their scents as well.
Nah, not me. I wish eggnog was year round.
Right.
My gosh. So preach.
Yes,
any upcoming events or anything you want to plug or promote?
Okay. I would say we have a few things coming up. I'm not sure when this episode will be out, but Soul House Art Gallery. You can go to soulhouseart.com, and that's SOULHAUS art.com to check out our upcoming events. We have some book talks, some artist talks. We have Nicolay from Foreign Exchange. She's going to be there for our Wind Down event. I just booked Zoe and Tall Black Guy. We're going to do a show in March. So they're coming to the gallery in March. Yes. So those details will be out soon.
Oh, man.
I'm at Lula Drake every Tuesday night playing jazz records. So that's really, really cool. Also, I'm working with them for Columbia Food and Wine Festival. We're going to do something called Vino and Vinyl, where they're going to have a four course meal and wines from different regions. And I'm going to curate music to go with the wines and the food and that type of thing. From what I was told, when they announced the tickets on a Thursday, by that Friday morning, they were all sold out.
Wow.
So we're trying to figure out a way to accommodate people that weren't getting a chance to get tickets for that. We might have like an after party situation sponsored by the gallery. I'm doing a film series partnering with the Nickelodeon. It's going to be a Black film series that's going to be Black films with music. So we're going to be showing the Luther documentary. We're going to be showing Soul Power, the James Brown documentary. We're going to be showing Samande, the Black group that's out of London. That's an incredible, incredible band. And then I think we're going to do Watt Stacks, as they call it, the Black Woodstock. So So we're going to do the last week of February every night that we're going to be playing that. And then third Thursdays in Soul House, we're going to have an art exhibit opening with Tara Singh, who's this amazing Black artist out of Asheville, North Carolina, that has some new work because she lost a lot of stuff with Hurricane Helene. So we want to make sure we amplify her. And then we're going to do a screening of the Nikki Giovanni documentary in the gallery as well. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram, Preach Jacobs, to keep up with all this stuff, because I know there's a lot to say I got going on. But but if I look at my calendar for the rest of the month and for half of March, I have something every single day going on. So I'm just trying to stay busy, man.
Hey, booked and busy ain't a bad thing, bro.
Absolutely.
So, man, speaking of following people on IG, you can follow me at Danny Foxworth 843. You can follow my YouTube channel. I'm at Danny Foxworth 843 as well. Make sure you like, download, and subscribe to A Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You know, you can find all of the video episodes of this podcast as well as my other podcast since we last spoke with Danny Foxworth. My baseball podcast, which I dropped today, At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. And my other podcast, Growing Up Low Country with Liz and Danny, where me and my longest friend, Liz Rennie, we talk about what it was like growing up in the Low Country, and we reminisce on things of the past in the Low Country region. So, for preaching myself, this has been another episode of A Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth. And until next time, y'all be good.
Bang.